Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. I want to talk about 5 zero waste swaps that are especially also good for minimalists, because as a minimalist myself, I do care a lot about sustainability, but my problem sometimes is that when I try to be more sustainable, that often comes with more stuff. And so I try to really find a balance between finding ways to be sustainable without adding a ton of zero waste things to my life that also kind of feel like a burden. And so today I want to share 5 tips with you to be more sustainable while actually having less stuff, or at least not needing to add additional items to your life. And the first tip is decluttering routines. Now, of course, when we go on our minimalist journeys, we often do declutter our things and get rid of the things that we don't need. But especially, I think it also makes sense to focus on products that we buy again and again. And I'm absolutely not telling you to get rid of things that are meaningful, that add a value to your life, that are great for your skin or for your body. But especially in the bathroom, I think a lot of us have products that maybe we don't even need, or we just use because we are used to using them, but maybe we could declutter them out of our routines. And that, of course, will save us money. It will save us a product that we need to buy again and again. So it will make our routines buying new things easier, and it will also, of course, be very sustainable because it doesn't create the waste that these products usually create. Because even if you find something zero waste, a product, maybe the production of it has some waste involved. So if you can cut out a product out of your routine that really doesn't add any benefits to your life, then you do something good for you, for your minimalist lifestyle, and for the environment. And when I talk about sustainable products, of course, there are so many zero waste products out there to buy, but sometimes it is hard to justify buying them if you have the old product that is really fine, but it's maybe not made out of the best material, and then you have the new product that is slightly better. But there are products that we have to exchange from time to time, and there I really think it makes sense to look out for the best sustainable option. And there today's sponsor comes into play. I partnered for this video with Case, and they offer compostable zero waste phone cases. And they come completely packaged without plastic. They even come with an envelope where you can send back your old phone case, which I think is amazing. And these are the phone cases that they sent me to show you. Here is like a nice little note written and a thank you. It's all recycled cardboard. But they have a ton of different designs, which are really, really cute. And for me, these two, I like those especially because they are like nature themed. So this one is a forest and this one is like just moon phases. And on their website, you can find many, many more designs. I think this is a genius thing because phone cases, while you might not consider them the most minimalist thing, I think are great to just protect our phones. Because even though I am careful, I need a case on my phone because otherwise the screen just breaks at some point. So protecting my phone screen, protecting my phone in general saves some waste or reduces the waste because I don't need to fix things that don't need to be fixed because I have a case. And the case itself does not cause any harm to the environment because it is compostable. They do have cases for many different phones, of course, Apple phones and also Android phones. I do also have a coupon code for you that I will link down below in the description as well. And with that code, you can get 15% off your Pila case. So be sure to check it out. So use the link down below to check out Pila cases and see if you find your next compostable, beautiful phone case. And now the next tip I want to talk about is a very, very simple one, but I think there are still a lot of people that don't do it out of different reasons, and that is drinking tap water if it's safe. In Germany, tap water is really safe. They even use it to then sell it by some brands. Some brands take tap water and sell it as their water. So it's really safe to drink, and drinking tap water is just something that can save so much plastic. And even if the water that comes directly out of your tap might not be the best, maybe a water filter could save that. And there, of course, you have that one additional product, but it's really worth thinking about like carrying water packed in plastic again and again and again, or just being able to drink tap water, or installing a small filter or something to make sure that your tap water is actually high quality. I know that there are regions on this planet where you cannot drink tap water, but if it's safe where you live, why not try to just drink tap water at least more often, because it can save so much plastic. Another thing that I really like to do that does not require any additional things is regrowing vegetables in water. The only thing you need is a glass, like a drinking glass or a glass where you had some kind of products in. Put a little bit of water in and put the vegetables in. Of course, that does not work with every kind of vegetable, but for example, spring onions work amazingly. Like you can just put them into water, and even after like 2 hours, you can see that they have grown a little bit. And we were able to regrow our spring onions 1, 2, or even 3 times. And sometimes we put them in the fridge, sometimes we leave them outside. But you have to be a bit careful and change out the water every few days at least to keep it fresh. But I think it's just an amazing thing that can save you money and can save all the resources that go into growing these vegetables, because you can just regrow them. And it actually works with many other things as well. For example, carrot green. Now, many people don't eat that, but you can make pesto or something like that out of it. You can regrow that. And there are many different vegetables where it's possible. I haven't done it with a lot of different ones, but I've tried every now and then. For example, lettuce works as well. So I can highly suggest you try that out. Nothing additional needed, and it can provide you with extra vegetable and no additional waste. And of course, you can also Google and see what the different options are, which vegetables work, and what the small like tricks and tips are to use to make it happen and make it work. But I think that's just an amazing trick, something that's pretty easy, does not require additional stuff. And yeah, growing your own vegetables in the city, in your apartment, or wherever you live, I think it's pretty amazing. And another thing I think that is especially important for minimalists is that we dispose of our things properly. And yes, that sounds maybe like a weird zero waste hack or zero waste tip, but I think it's a very important subject in general, because at least for myself, no matter how hard I try to avoid waste, I do still accumulate a bunch of waste. I still need to buy products packaged in plastic. I still get cardboard boxes when I order something. For example, our vegetable box that we get each week to avoid plastic packaging, but then we end up with cardboard packaging. And so I think it is very important to like recycle your waste, even though the recycling system is not the most sustainable, or it's not as sustainable as it claims. And of course, it also goes for decluttering. With decluttering especially, sometimes it is so hard to dispose of your things in the most sustainable way, but I think it is important to at least try. List things on online marketplaces for free. That is something that works pretty well for me. And try to sell things, try to give things away or upcycle them before you bring them to a thrift store. Because especially now, after a year of us being at home, decluttering, a lot of thrift stores are just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that they get. But if that's your only possibility, it's still better than just throwing things into the garbage. One problem I had recently is getting rid of like fabric scraps. Now the problem, that's a little anecdote out of my life. The problem is I used to, like a few years ago, once I had a big bag of fabric scraps and I just put it in the trash because I was overwhelmed. I did not know what to do with it. And just like a few minutes later, I regret it because I thought like, oh, that was so stupid. These are resources that could still be used. And I promised to myself to never do that again and make sure that I find the proper way to dispose of these fabric scraps, that they can be reused, maybe not made into new garments, but at least like recycle the fabric, because sometimes you can make insulation out of it, or you can make some cleaning racks or something like that can be made out of old fabric if it's not like good enough to be recycled. And so I collected all of my fabric scraps and wondered where to bring them. And I thought like our local recycling center, like where you can bring all the stuff that doesn't go in the trash here, that we don't have an option. Like I thought, bring it there, because there they really have all the options to dispose of every single different piece in the best way. But then I looked it up on the internet and I couldn't find an option for fabric, and I called them and they said, no, fabric scraps just belong into the trash. And I was like, what? They told me that I should put them into the trash. And I thought like, that's such a waste. So I did it right the last time, but if I put them in the waste, I know when it states that on their website, it will just get burned. And yes, these are jeans and clothes that have a lot of holes, these things that you really can't use anymore, that you really can't recycle, like upcycle or use yourself or fix, but it's still a waste of fabric. I still don't want to just like throw them away for them to get burned. And so what I did, it's something else I found on a website, on different websites on the internet, is to just put like fabric scraps and broken clothes in these clothing donation boxes as well. Now my problem is, on every single box it states that you shouldn't do that because they don't want like bad clothing items. But on the internet it says like, yeah, put them in there because then they get sorted out and recycled eventually. Now I don't know what will happen with my clothes, and I'm absolutely not satisfied with the possibilities that I have, but I just want to encourage you to think about your things before you just throw them away, because if they end up on the landfill or just get burned, it's sad. Like, of course, there are things where you cannot do anything with them, where you just really need to dispose of them via trash, so they would end up in landfills or get burned. But there are so many resources that we can still use and recycle and make something new out of. And I think as minimalists, that is like part of the responsibility of decluttering, and that can really have a huge impact. I think disposing of your things properly can have a bigger impact sometimes than exchanging a product for a more eco-friendly version of it. And in general, I just think every time you can make a decision that is more sustainable than maybe your standard decision or what you've done in the past, that's amazing. But it is also okay if sometimes you have to go back to a less sustainable option because you just don't have the energy, you don't have the resources to make the most sustainable decision right now. And I think it's amazing if we all do what we can. But in the end, I think politics and big companies have to change as well. And if we talk about companies that need to do better when it comes to sustainable practices, then of course it's always great to support those companies like Pillowcase that already have a product that is so much more sustainable than the other options available on the market. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up because that would really support my channel. If you want to see more videos, I'm going to link you a video and a playlist, and I'm actually also going to link you Pila here to check out, and I also hope to see you next time. Bye!